Everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not going to do. This is the kind of pushback Caitlin Clark's fans had been begging to see from her teammates. And in Sophie Cunningham, they got far more than they expected. Because Sophie wasn't just Caitlin's enforcer. She became every fan's loudest voice and Kathy Angelbert's biggest headache. Let me explain. As the 2025 season progressed, you could see Sophie's tolerance for the league's nonsense drop to zero. Every hard foul on Caitlin, every cheap shot the refs ignored, every fine the league threw at her, none of it silenced. Sophie, she doubled down on the referees, on the media, on her old teammates, even on the league itself. Nobody was off limits. And here's the part that should terrify the WNBA. This is only the beginning. This video breaks down Sophie's evolution from Caitlin's enforcer to the WNBA's worst nightmare, with every moment getting more fearless and satisfying. But first, like this video and drop your favorite Sophie moment in the comments. Just the competitor that I am, I'm fierce, I'm sassy, I stick up for my teammates, stick it up for myself. And so sometimes I think that's okay to be feisty and to be yourself. What Sophie said there, it turned out to be an understatement. When she joined the Fever, fans were hyped because this team desperately needed what she promised: feistiness. A deterrent to the non-stop cheap shots aimed at Caitlin Clark. But Sophie brought more than just fire. She brought something fans noticed right away: authentic loyalty to Caitlin. I mean, she has changed our game in the best possible way, in every way. And in the WNBA, that was rare. After a season where the media downplayed Caitlin's impact, the refs refused to give her a fair whistle, and even Nike dragged its feet on promotion. It was refreshing to finally hear a player tell the truth. Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA. She's transforming it. And that honesty made Sophie public enemy number one. It didn't take long before other players started testing her. And in the preseason, we got our first glimpse of Savage Sophie. Against the Mystics, rookie Kiki Fenn took her down. And Sophie, she stood right up and basically said, "Don't you ever try that again?" Take a look. You go down into the trees and things happen. And Kiki Fenn right there. It had an extra little shove and she's just like, what I do? Well, you kind of go, oh, and then Sophie Cunningham pops right up and has a lot to say. That preseason moment was just an appetizer, a teaser for what was coming the rest of the season. Because if a rookie could take down a vet like Sophie with zero fear, what chance did Caitlin Clark have? It was open season on the Fever, and Sophie's role was about to become crystal clear. Game after game, the whistles stayed buried in the refs' pockets. Caitlin was hammered with no calls while other players got away with murder. It was 2024 all over again. And finally, Sophie had enough. June 17th, Commissioner's Cup, Fever versus Connecticut Sun. The officials let the game spiral, out of control. First, J.C. Sheldon swiped at Caitlin's eyes. Then, Marina Mabrey leveled her with a body shot. No ejections, no protection, no accountability. And that's when Sophie Cunningham snapped. What she did next instantly became legendary among Caitlin Clark fans. For Caitlin's fans, this was pure catharsis. Avery, that's a blank foul. It's a hard foul. You could say it's a play on the ball. But finally, some retribution. After months of watching Caitlin get hacked with no protection, Sophie delivered the payback. A headlock, a shove, and a simple dare. Do something. Up to Y. This point, Sophie had always been fiery, but this was different. This was the switch flip. From that moment on, she was playing with zero Fs to give, and it didn't stop on the court. At practice after the game, reporters asked about the altercation, and Sophie made it crystal clear this wasn't about one play or one game. It was about something bigger. During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a buildup for a couple years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so it's all good. Sophie had watched the mistreatment of Caitlin Clark from afar. Now she was living it firsthand, and she'd had enough. That moment cemented Sophie Cunningham as a household name. They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6. Yeah. Yep. Boom. Wow, I love it. She was the one who finally defended Caitlin Clark. And what happened next was the ultimate display of the Caitlin Clark effect. Fans embraced her instantly. Her jersey sold out in minutes. Her social media exploded with millions of new followers, and Sophie leaned right into it. She posted a TikTok with a Selena Gomez track, a wink to the JCS Sheldon takedown, and it went mega viral. Her comments were flooded with one message: "Thank you for standing up for Caitlin. It was a multi-million-dollar moment." Overnight, Sophie went from role player to one of the most marketable names in the league. But with every new fan came just as many enemies. The media slammed her retaliation on JC Sheldon while staying silent about Mabry's hit or Sheldon's swipe at Caitlin. A change. Org petition even popped up calling for her to be kicked out of the league for unsportsmanlike conduct. And then came the WNBA fine, $400. At this point, Sophie was at a crossroads. She could have stayed quiet, let the heat die down, and faded back into being just another scrappy role player. But she didn't. From that moment on, every soundbite got sharper, every clip more savage, every word more unapologetic. This wasn't just Sophie Cunningham playing basketball anymore. She chose war. And that was the point where she became the WNBA's worst nightmare. Just 5 days after the JC Sheldon incident, Sophie showed up pre-game in a Barstool Sports Tres Leches shirt featuring her Caitlin and Lexi Hall. It was another clear signal of where her loyalty stood shoulder to shoulder with Caitlin, and it absolutely infuriated certain corners of the WNBA. Tres Leches 3 Milks was interpreted as a reference to the Fever's 3 white players. Sophie knew exactly how the shirt would be received, and she wore it anyway. And she was far from done. Man, I don't know how excited we are to be going to Detroit or Cincinnati. On July 1st, Sophie took direct aim at the WNBA, blasting its expansion plans. Immediately, cities like Detroit and Cleveland went into a frenzy. She was criticized. From every corner, media, fans, even league insiders. For a brief moment, she tried to walk it back, saying her comments had been taken out of context. But here's the thing. When you're dealing with the mob, there's no point in backing down. So Sophie did the opposite. She went one step further, saying the quiet part out loud that everyone agreed with her. They were just too afraid to say it. "I'm not even going to lie to you. I am someone who says what everyone else is thinking or talking about. Not just with the ref with Cleveland. I want people to hear what I just said. I am the only one. But if you ask our league, they feel the same exact way. The league feels the same way about the refs as you in Detroit and Cleveland. Yeah. You want to do one more shot? No, because I said what I had to say. Go off. And I'm not going to apologize because I fully believe that. Don't tell me that Detroit is more fun than Nashville." And this quickly became the trend. Sophie was the one unafraid to say what everyone else was thinking, and it didn't take long for the fines to start rolling in. On July 18th, she posted a TikTok lip-syncing to a Sabrina Carpenter song, not so subtly calling out the refs for being stupid and useless. The post exploded. Over 1 million views in hours, fans loved it. But you know who didn't? The WNBA. They hit her with a $500 fine. And honestly, that number was laughable. For most WNBA players, $500 is a decent chunk of their salary. But for Sophie, with endorsement money pouring in, $500 was nothing. Hell, Caitlin probably paid the fine for her with the $11 million she made in 2024. So instead of silencing her, the WNBA only made her louder. Because less than 2 weeks later, Sophie cranked it up, another level. On July 30th, she launched her new podcast, Show Me Something. And from the very first episode, she didn't hold back. This wasn't just a podcast. It was her platform to expose the W. You have seen players in our league try to, toughen up Caitlin. We call her CCCC for even when I wasn't on our team. I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of no, we're going to prove her. We're going to show her what the W really is. You know what I mean? And I get it to a certain extent, and every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're going to treat him. But there's just more for her. So it's her second year, and now being on her team and seeing it, I'm what are people doing? It's just too much. And I'm over, and if I'm saying it's too much, then it's probably too much. No, that's so fair. That's fair, right? Yeah. From the very first episode, it was clear no one was safe. She went straight at the league, calling out the abuse Caitlin was taking, even referencing her old teammates. She said it outright. The chippiness, the cheap shots, the abuse on the court, it was 100% because of Caitlin Clark. And she didn't stop there. She turned her fire on the refs, saying in that Sun game they completely lost control, that Marina Mabrey should have been tossed. There's a couple players on their team that are just do a little bit extra stuff, like just chippy talking. Like you're a professional athlete, like that's what happens, right? You see it more because people act like this towards, yes, 1000%. So in the first half, the refs didn't call someone should have been thrown out, and the refs did not call it. Correct. I remember that they didn't. And so I was like, all right, she got full body chest by 3 people, like 2 people. They're like, oh, it's fine. And I'm like, if that was anyone else, I would have been booted out of the game. I know that for sure. I'm a little sassy, but like, so are they. Your leash is shorter though, because they literally, I don't even have a leash. I just have a freaking collar and a hand on it. And then came this, Sophie dropped a bomb, not just on the players, but on the media, the owners, and anyone in the league who disrespected Caitlin Clark. Damn it. No. I think that's from what I've seen is the outside of you. Why bully the person who is like not 100% responsible, but like has a huge role in growing your support? Dude, and it literally like pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league. Who would be? What? Sabrina. No. No. There's really good, well-known people in our league. I'm not discrediting them. Like, we have a lot of badasses in our league. Like, hell yeah to that. I'm all for that. But when people try to argue that she's not the face of our league, or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as, yeah, you're literally dumb as, And after that, she went straight for the refs. A direct targeted attack, essentially daring the league to find her. And I get it, because if I was a ref, I know I would mess up all the time. Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing? What are you doing? What call are you like bugged out? All of them, everything. Like, it's just like they're just so inconsistent. Like, that's my thing. Like, if you're on the other team and you're going to be fing the out of me, yeah, cool. But let me do it to you. They might. Yeah. You know what I mean? Inconsistency then. Yeah. Like, just give. And I think that's players across the league and like new fans across the country. Like, everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not going to do a cheer. And on August 5th, Sophie revealed the league had hit her again, this time with a $1,500 fine. We were talking about like our first week, what people had to say. Will the WNBA find me for no? You got fined for episode 1, dude. They've been they fined me $1,500. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just the beginning. I was like, you're kidding. No way. I was like, I even told them, I even credit them that their job was hard. I did say that, and I said that I would not be good at it. I did say that, like, look at the whole picture. What are we doing? But just like she promised, that fine did nothing. In that same podcast, she called out former teammate and mentor Dana Bonner about her ugly exit from Indiana just 2 days before playing her in Phoenix. She's towards the end of her career, so like, she deserves her flower. She deserves to be happy. But I also think that if you're going to leave, like, you're going to have to expect getting bit. Was there explanation when it happened? No. Not even privately. That's tough. And yeah. Okay. Who knows what was said behind closed doors around that Fever Mercury game? But what came after made one thing clear. Phoenix was not happy with Sophie's comments. And this was her way of saying politely but directly, you're dead to me. Earth Assassin opponent tonight? Yeah. You know, AZ was good to me. But I'm way happier where I'm at now. It was good to see people. It was fun to play in front of some fans. But for me, I'm way happier in Indiana. But then she went full savage mode. Her next act broke one of the unspoken rules of the WNBA. She went after the refs, and specifically their white glove treatment of Paige Beckers. On her August 13th podcast, Sophie tore into the officials, saying Paige was getting outrageous special treatment. She didn't sugarcoat it. She didn't hedge. She flat out said it and absolutely destroyed them for it. Do not get me wrong. I think she's a hell of a player and would love to play with her one day. But those refs were giving her every freaking whistle last night. You literally couldn't touch her. Couldn't touch her. And that is so annoying to me. Sophie wasn't afraid to call out what fans had noticed for a long time. A wild double standard, because here's Caitlin, the face of the league, still getting hacked with no protection deep into year 2. And here's Paige, a rookie getting superstar treatment from day 1. It was the kind of respect Caitlin should have had from the start. And Sophie was the one willing to say it out loud. And like clockwork, the league responded the only way it knows how. She got slapped with yet another fine. Hey, another thing. I don't know why this reminded me of Just Like Games. You asking about Bria? But I'm officially 3 for 3 on being fined by the WNBA. Holy. For the pod again. They didn't like my comments on Paige Beckers? No way. I didn't even say anything bad. Now Sophie's out for the season with an MCL injury. There won't be any more once-court altercations in 2025. But what she did while she was on the floor, what she saw, what she lived, created a platform. Sophie is the example of how the W should have handled Caitlin Clark. She understood her value, she celebrated it, and she defended her at every turn. And with Caitlin's popularity already transcending the entire WNBA and a fan base who has been called every name in the book, Sophie quickly won the hearts of Clark's fans. She became their bullhorn, saying out loud what they had been thinking all along about how the league treats its biggest draw. That's why her platform isn't like the others. It's pro-women's basketball, but not pro-WNBA. It's not built to polish the league's image. It's built to challenge it. The leadership, the referees, the players, and if anything, it's only going to get louder because the fines mean nothing. Every time the league tries to hit her, she just amps it up. And that's the WNBA's worst nightmare. A charismatic player that casual fans actually love, defending Caitlin Clark at every turn, calling out the league with zero fear. And the truth is, the WNBA brought this on themselves. And until they start protecting players, especially the face of the league, Sophie will continue to call them out. If you're still here, drop a trophy in the comments because you're a winner for sticking it out to the end.